promise broken, the growing dissatisfaction among U.S. veterans. America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, a nation built on the ideals of liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness. We say it with pride, chests puffed out, hands on our hearts. We sing the national anthem, we pledge allegiance, and we celebrate our freedoms. But what about those who embody that bravery, who put their lives on the line for that freedom? The soldiers who march into battle, the ones who face the horrors of war so we don't have to. Where's their pledge of allegiance? Where's the unwavering support they were promised when they signed up to serve? Let's talk about U.S. veterans. The men and women who signed up raised their right hands and swore to defend this country. They are our fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, friends, and neighbors. The men and women who signed up raised their right hands and swore to defend this country. They took an oath, a solemn promise to protect and serve, knowing full well the risks involved. They went to war, saw things most of us can't even imagine, and came back changed. They faced the enemy, endured the chaos of combat, and witnessed the loss of comrades, and not always for the better. The scars of war are not just physical, they are mental and emotional, often invisible to the naked eye. They came back to a country that promised them the world but struggles to provide basic support. They face long waits for medical care, inadequate mental health services, and bureaucratic red tape. We're talking about a deep-seated dissatisfaction brewing among veterans. A sense of frustration and disillusionment that grows with each passing day, a feeling of being forgotten, ignored, betrayed. They feel like their sacrifices have been in vain, that their service is no longer valued. They see a system that's supposed to have their backs failing them at every turn. From healthcare to housing, employment to education, the support they need is often out of reach. This isn't just about one administration or one policy, it's about a growing disconnect between the reality veterans face and the promises they were made. It's a systemic issue that spans decades and administrations. From the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan to the halls of Congress, something's broken. The promises made to our veterans are not being kept, and the consequences are dire. The contract between America and its veterans has been breached, and the consequences are dire. The trust that was once there is eroding, and the impact is felt not just by veterans, but by their families and communities. This isn't just a military issue, it's an American issue. It's about how we treat those who have given so much for our country. It's about honoring our commitments and ensuring that no veteran is left behind. And it's time we started treating it like one. It's time for action, for real change, for a renewed commitment to our veterans. They deserve nothing less. The crushing weight of endless war lives lost and resources drained. The toll of these conflicts is not just measured in numbers but in the deep emotional scars left behind. We sent our troops to fight in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq. These places have become etched in our collective memory, synonymous with sacrifice and struggle. Names that have become synonymous with endless war. The battles fought in these regions have defined a generation, shaping the lives of countless soldiers and civilians alike. We asked them to fight for our freedom, for our safety. But at what cost? The price paid is far greater than we often acknowledge. The human cost is immeasurable. Each life lost represents a story cut short, a family left to mourn, dreams unfulfilled. Thousands of young Americans never came home, families shattered, futures extinguished. The grief and loss ripple through communities, leaving a void that can never be filled. And those who did return, many bear the invisible scars of war, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, the ghosts that follow them long after the guns fall silent. These brave men and women face battles every day, long after their service has ended. But it's not just lives lost. The destruction extends beyond the battlefield, affecting the very fabric of our society. The financial cost of these wars is staggering. Trillions of dollars spent, resources diverted from critical needs at home. Trillions of dollars spent, funneled into military operations, into rebuilding shattered countries. This immense expenditure has far-reaching consequences. Money that could have been used to rebuild our own infrastructure, to educate our children, to provide health care to our veterans. Instead, we see our own communities struggling, our schools underfunded, and our veterans waiting for the care they deserve. These wars have left an indelible mark on America, both at home and abroad. The impact is felt in every corner of our nation, from the smallest towns to the largest cities. They've drained our resources, divided our nation, and left our veterans feeling used and discarded. The promises made to them often go unfulfilled, leaving them to navigate a system that seems to forget their sacrifices. We talk about supporting our troops, but are we truly doing enough? The reality is stark. Many veterans face long waits for medical care, struggle with mental health issues, and find it difficult to reintegrate into civilian life. The answer, my friends, is a resounding no. We must do more to honor their service, to provide the support they need, and to ensure that their sacrifices are never forgotten. The cost of war is far too high, and it's time we recognize the true price paid by those who serve. Scars that run deep. The betrayal of inadequate health care. They come home, these warriors, carrying the weight of war on their shoulders. Each step they take back on home soil is a step away from the battlefield, but the war within them rages on. The joy of reuniting with loved ones is often overshadowed by the haunting memories of conflict. The physical wounds may heal, but the invisible scars run deep. These scars are etched into their minds and hearts, a constant reminder of the horrors they've witnessed and endured. The visible scars are just the surface. The true battle lies within. PTSD, depression, anxiety, these are the hidden enemies that follow them home. They need help. They deserve help. They were promised help. The mental health struggles they face are as real and debilitating as any physical injury. Therapy sessions and support groups become their new battlegrounds, where they fight for peace of mind and a semblance of normalcy. But the reality is far from the promise. The empty hallways of hospitals echo with the silence of unmet needs, while the overcrowded waiting rooms tell a story of a system stretched to its limits. The promise of care and support often feels like a distant dream. The VA healthcare system, overwhelmed and underfunded, struggles to keep up with the demand. Dedicated doctors and nurses work tirelessly, but the sheer volume of veterans needing care is overwhelming. The exterior of VA hospitals, with people waiting in long lines, is a stark contrast to the care that was promised. Long wait times, bureaucratic nightmares, and a lack of specialized care are just the tip of the iceberg. Veterans find themselves entangled in a web of red tape, where every step forward is met with another form to fill out, another line to stand in. The frustration is palpable, and the sense of abandonment is profound. Imagine risking your life for your country, only to come home and be treated like a number, a burden. The rejection letters and the endless waiting are a stark reminder that the system meant to support them is failing. The loneliness in the waiting rooms mirrors the isolation they feel within. The very system that's supposed to be their lifeline is failing them. Arguments with hospital staff and the dejection in their eyes tell a story of broken promises and shattered trust. The corridors of hospitals become a battleground of a different kind, where veterans fight for the care they were promised. This isn't just incompetence, it's a betrayal of the sacrifices they've made. The disappointment etched on their faces is a testament to the broken system. Sitting alone in the dark, they are left to grapple with the betrayal of a nation they served with honor. It's a national shame that we allow our veterans to suffer in silence, to navigate a broken system that seems designed to keep them down. The stack of medical bills and the frustration on the phone are symbols of a system that has turned its back on those who gave everything. The silence of their suffering is a deafening cry for help. We owe them more than just gratitude. We owe them the best possible care, both physical and mental. Compassionate doctors and group therapy sessions offer a glimmer of hope, but they are not enough. Our veterans deserve a system that works for them, not against them. Anything less is simply unacceptable. The determination in their eyes and the embrace of loved ones are reminders of their resilience. We must honor their sacrifices with actions, not just words. Our veterans deserve nothing less than our unwavering support and the best care we can provide. Section 4. A system failing its heroes. Navigating the bureaucracy of Veterans Affairs. Veterans Affairs. It sounds so official, so supportive. But for many veterans, it's a bureaucratic maze, a minefield of paperwork and red tape. They're forced to jump through hoops to fight for every benefit they were promised. Disability claims, education benefits, housing assistance. These are not handouts, these are earned benefits. Yet veterans often face an uphill battle to access them. The system is slow, inefficient, and often leaves them feeling like they're begging for scraps. Imagine being told you don't qualify for a benefit because of a missing form, a misplaced document. Imagine waiting months, even years for a decision, only to be denied. This is the reality for far too many veterans. The VA needs a complete overhaul. We need to streamline the process, cut through the bureaucracy, and make it easier for veterans to get the support they deserve. They shouldn't have to fight their own government for the help they've earned. Section 5, New Orleans and beyond. When domestic unrest compounds the trauma of war. Remember Hurricane Katrina? The levees broke, New Orleans flooded, and chaos reigned, and who did we call upon to restore order, to help those in need? Our National Guard. Many of them veterans themselves, fresh from deployments overseas. They went from fighting insurgents in Fallujah to rescuing flood victims in the 9th Ward. They saw firsthand the failures of their own government, the slow and inadequate response to a domestic crisis. This wasn't an isolated incident. From wildfires to riots, we've seen time and again how domestic unrest can compound the trauma of war for our veterans. They're asked to confront chaos and violence at home, after witnessing the horrors of conflict abroad. It's a heavy burden to bear, and it speaks to a deeper truth about America. We ask so much of our veterans, yet we fail to address the systemic issues that lead to these crises in the first place. It's a vicious cycle that leaves everyone feeling disillusioned and betrayed.